It was a rainy Thursday evening when Linda Moss decided to clear out the attic. She wasn't looking for anything in particular, just a way to pass the time. Life in the small town of Marlow had slowed to a crawl since the local factory shut down, and Linda's days were marked by aimless wandering around her creaking Victorian home, amid stacks of old photo albums and dusty Christmas decorations. She found it, a curious device, sealed inside a wooden crate with faded lettering. It was a television, but not like any she had ever seen. The screen was convex, with a silver trim and large dials instead of buttons. The manufacturer's nameplate read, Transcendence Broadcasting Company. Curiosity piqued. Linda lugged the television downstairs, her boots squeaking on the wooden steps, plugging it into the wall. She was surprised to find it hum to life. Static danced across the screen. But when she turned the dial, the image sharpened. The channel she landed on wasn't familiar. A man in a black suit stood in front of a chalkboard filled with equations, speaking in a calm monotone. Linda leaned closer, expecting a science lecture. But the man looked directly into the camera, directly at her. "Welcome back, Linda," he said. She froze. "You've been missed," he continued, erasing the chalkboard behind him with one swipe of his hand. A new scene materialized in its place, as though the chalkboard were a portal. It showed Linda's childhood bedroom, perfectly preserved as if it hadn't aged a day. "That's impossible," she whispered. The man's lips curled into a faint smile. "Is it? Shall we revisit a moment?" Quote. Before Linda could react, the screen filled with light, and she found herself no longer in her living room. She was standing in her old bedroom, the scent of lilacs and fresh paint filling the air. The man was there, too, standing in the corner, silently observing. "What is this?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "A broadcast," he replied. "Your life's most significant moments. Unedited, unfiltered, and forgotten. Shall we continue?" Quote. The scene shifted again. This time, she was on the playground of her elementary school. She recognized the day immediately. It was the day her best friend, Molly, had disappeared. "Linda," Molly's voice echoed, though no one else was around. "Why didn't you come looking for me?" Quote. Tears welled in Linda's eyes. "I did. I looked everywhere. You just vanished." Quote. The man in the suit observed her with quiet detachment. "Vanished? Yes, but perhaps not entirely. Would you like to see where she went?" Quote. Linda hesitated, but curiosity overwhelmed her fear. She nodded. The playground dissolved, replaced by a dimly lit room filled with television sets. Each one displayed a different moment from her life. Molly appeared on one screen, trapped behind glass, her hands pressed against it as if trying to escape. "She became part of the network," the man explained. "As will you." "No," Linda shouted, backing away. "You've been broadcasting your life to us for years," he continued. "Every choice, every regret, every joy. We've seen it all. Now it's your turn to join the program." The screens flickered, each showing Linda herself, older, sitting in a similar dim room, staring at dozens of screens. "No," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Please, I don't want this." The man smiled faintly. "You already chose, Linda. Long ago. You just don't remember." The television in her living room blared static as the rain outside intensified. When her neighbors came by the next morning, concerned that Linda hadn't answered their calls, they found only the humming television. No sign of Linda Moss was ever found. But sometimes, late at night, when the rain falls in Marlow, you can tune your old TV to a channel that doesn't exist there. You might catch a glimpse of her, sitting alone, broadcasting her memories to a vast, unseen audience.